friends, it's Melanie and welcome to today's video. It's been a while since I've given you guys a crochet pattern and today I'm showing you how I make one of my favorite crochet items, which is a bag. I do want to give a disclaimer that I am offering a free pattern and of course I show you all the steps I go through in this video, but I'm not an experienced pattern writer. This is just how I make my bags and what's worked for me, and I tried to be as concise and clear as possible and show you guys. Hopefully this video will give you a visual demonstration and be very helpful to go along with the written pattern so that you can make your very own crochet purse or bag. In the video I'm showing you guys how I make this specific pattern, but you can make this with smaller granny squares so that you can make a smaller purse, and pretty much everything in the pattern is explaining how I did it for this specific bag. But if you want to size down or size up, you can very much do so by just adjusting everything to scale. Let's get straight into this video so I can show you how I made this beautiful bag. Hello guys, we're gonna start off by learning how to make this granny square. In order to make a bag, you're gonna make 19 of these granny squares. And these are all of the supplies that I have. You're gonna have one color for the center and the trim, one color for the petals of the flower, another color for the leaves of the flower, and one color for the border around the flower. You're also gonna need some scissors, a crochet hook. I'm using a 3.5mm hook, and I'm also gonna be using a yarn bowl just to stay organized. To start this granny square, we're gonna start with the center of the flower. So we're gonna grab our brown yarn. We're gonna start by making a magic circle. You're going to chain 2. Now you're going to double crochet into the magic loop 7 more times. So with the first chain of 2, you should have 8 double crochets in your magic loop. So we're going to tighten it to form the center of the flower. And we're going to slip stitch to the other side to form the center. And that's the center of our flower. We're gonna be moving on to the color of the petals, which is this purple for me. We're going to slip this purple yarn into one of the stitches and chain 2. From here, we're going to be doing clusters of double crochets. Since we already have this chain 2 here, we're going to do 4 more clusters of double crochet. You're going to yarn over on the hook, insert, pull the yarn through, and pull the yarn through just 2 of those loops so that you have 2 loops on your hook. Then we're gonna repeat that. Yarn over, insert, pull through, pull the yarn through 2 of those loops so we have 3. Yarn over, insert, pull the yarn through, pull through 2 of the loops so we have 4. This is the final one. Yarn over, insert, pull the yarn through, and then pull the yarn through 2 of the loops so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to pull the yarn through all 5 of those loops, and we're going to chain 2. We're going to repeat that in all 8 of the holes around the circle. So I'll show you one more time. Yarn over, insert it into the next hole, pull the yarn through 2 of the loops, yarn over, through the hole, pull the yarn through 2 of the hoops, yarn over, insert, pull the yarn through 2 of the hoops. Now we have 4, so we're going to do it one more time. Yarn over, insert, pull the yarn through, and then pull the yarn through 2 of those loops. Now we're going to yarn over and pull it through all 5 of those loops. And then chain 2. And you're going to repeat that 6 more times so that you have 8 petals total. Now that we have all 8 petals, I'm going to chain 2 and then slip stitch into the first petal. And you have the second row of your granny square complete. Next, we're gonna go on to the leaves. So I'm gonna pull out my green yarn. We're going to be using double crochets in between each of these clusters. In between one of the clusters, you're going to insert your hook, any of these big holes. I'm gonna pull the green yarn through. And you're going to chain 2. Then you're going to do 2 double crochets. We're doing all of this into the same big hole. So 1 double crochet, that was 2 double crochets. So with the original chain 2, it's 3 double crochets. Then I'm going to chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets into the same hole. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets. And as you can sort of see here, we're gonna be making 4 of these pairs of petals. So this is 1 pair of the petals. Now you're going to chain 3. You're going to skip 1 hole in between the cluster crochet, and then you're going to go into the next big hole, and that's where we're gonna repeat. So skipping 1 big hole, going to the second big hole, we're gonna do the same thing where we do 3 double crochets, a chain of 2, and then 3 more double crochets all in the same big hole. So we have 1 pair of petals here, 1 pair of petals here. We're gonna repeat this around the entire circle. So we're gonna skip a hole. In the next hole, we're gonna do the same thing where we do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, skip a hole, and then the next hole, we're gonna repeat that. Now that we have all 4 sets of leaves, finish it off by chaining 3 and then slip stitching into the first set of leaves. Now you have your 3rd row of this granny square completed. Next, we're gonna move on to the white border. I'm taking this cream white yarn. We're going to insert our hook and we're going to pull the white yarn through, and we're going to add a double crochet into each of the holes along the whole side. For the corners, we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in this corner hole. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 more double crochets, and as you can see, that starts to form the corner of the border. For along the side, we're gonna be doing 3 double crochets into each of the previous double crochets. Then we're gonna do 3 treble crochets into this big gap here. You're not gonna be going into the green, you're gonna be going into this purple cluster hole. Then you're gonna be doing 3 more double crochets into these 3 previous double crochets. Then you're going to repeat this corner pattern on all of the corners. So we have 1 double crochet, 2, 3 double crochets. Then we're gonna do 3 treble crochets into not this green hole, but into this purple hole down here. So we loop it around twice, insert into the purple hole, pull the yarn through, pull the yarn through 2 loops, pull the yarn through 2 more loops, and then pull through again. Then we're going to repeat that. So we have our 3 treble crochets now. We're gonna do 3 more double crochets. So that's exactly what you're gonna do for all 4 of the sides. Now we're just going to repeat what we did on this corner, which is 3 double crochets into the hole, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into this hole. So now we have another corner. We're just going to repeat all of this around the entire border until we get back here. We just finished the white border. We only have 1 more row for our granny square, which is the brown trim. So I'm gonna bring my brown yarn back out. We're just going to pull the brown yarn through here, chain 2, and the entire border is just double crochets. So we're going to double crochet through each hole from the previous color. Once you get to the corner, we're just going to do 2 double crochets. Chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets all into the same corner hole. You can see the corner forming here, and then we're just going to repeat the same thing around the entire trim of the square, doing double crochets all along the side, doing 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into each of the 4 corners. Now that the border is all finished, we're just going to slip stitch into the beginning of it to connect both sides. You now have your finished flower granny square. All you have to do is weave in all of the ends. The next step, once you have your granny squares completed, is to block them. This is optional, but I do like to do it to give it a bit of a neater shape. To do this, I'm using a wooden blocking board. It comes with these metal stakes to help hold it into place. I'm also going to be using a spray bottle with some water. I left my granny squares to dry on the blocking board overnight. So as you can see, they're very nice and uniform now. And we're gonna start connecting our granny squares together so that we'll have panels to create our bag. This is a rough outline of all of your granny squares and how we're gonna be assembling them. The colors show what sides of which panels we're gonna be connecting later on. But for right now, we're gonna be connecting these dimensions of panels. So you're gonna be making 5 total panels. 2 of them are gonna be 3 by 2, and those are gonna be the sides of the bag. 1 is gonna be 1 by 3, which is gonna be the base of the bag, and 2 are gonna be 2 by 1, and those are gonna be the sides of the bag. Now I'm gonna show you how I connect my granny squares. Right now, I'm gonna be connecting 6 granny squares together in a 2 by 3 in order to make 1 side of the bag. So I'm gonna lay them all out and make sure that they're all facing right side up. Then we're gonna be taking the same color yarn as the trim of the squares. So I'm using this brown, and I'm gonna be using the same 3.5mm hook. I like to connect my granny squares using the back loop only method, and I'm gonna go across this way, and then I'm gonna go down this way. So I'm gonna start by making a slip knot. Starting on this side, bring my yarn to the back of these 2 granny squares, and you wanna make sure that you're working through the coordinating stitches on each of these 2 granny squares so that they line up. I'm gonna be putting my hook through the back loop only of both stitches of these granny squares and pull my working yarn through. Then we're gonna keep doing the same thing. I'll zoom you in a bit so that you can see this a bit better. Putting my hook through the back loop of the first granny square, the back loop of the second granny square, so that I have 1, 2, 3 loops on my hook. And then I'm gonna pull the yarn through all 3 of those loops. All right, now that we have these 2 granny squares connected, we're gonna keep this yarn and just move on to connecting these next 2 granny squares by going through the back loop of the first granny square, the back loop of the second granny square, and then pulling that same working yarn through both. For now, these will only be connected by a little point, but we'll go down this way after to connect the rest of the granny squares. So we'll just keep working our way. Now that I've finished going all the way across this way, we're just going to snip our yarn. We're gonna turn our work, and then we're gonna start working across this way, doing the same exact thing. Once you get to the end of these first 2 granny squares, you reach the intersection of the previous connection, and I just skip right over it into the next back loops of the next 2 granny squares right across from it. This ends up just looking like these single crochets are covering the previous ones, but we just continue going down the line. Now that we have these granny squares connected, we just have these last ones up here to connect. Now we have one of our 2x3 panels finished. This is gonna be what the side of our bag looks like. It's up to you if you wanna weave in these ends now or if you wanna do it after you connect all of your panels together. I usually do it after everything is connected. So I'll see you once I have all 5 of my panels finished. I'm back with all of my finished panels. 1 that is 3x1. This is gonna be the bottom of the bag. 2 that are 3x2, and these are gonna be the sides of the bag. 2 that are 2x1, and these are going to be the other sides of the bag. We're now gonna work on connecting all of these. The way I like to do this is by connecting these 2 sides to the base first. Now I'm gonna stitch along here, but I'm gonna be using the front loops instead of the back loops. And this will just be a very subtle difference from the connection between all of the other granny squares. So we're just putting our hook into the front loop of this side, and then the front loop of the other granny square. And we're pulling the yarn through all of those hoops. The front loop, the other front loop, and pulling the yarn through. And as you can see here, it looks pretty similar to the back loop method. I just personally think it gives a little bit of a subtle different look from these ones so that you can tell where the edges of the bag will be. So we're gonna keep doing this across the whole edge. We're going to do the same thing, connecting across here. I will catch up with you guys after I do that. I'm back and I now have this entire panel connected. Basically a 5x3 panel. These 2 are done in the front loops. So the bag is going to be in this shape. This is the entire base. So at this point, we're gonna pull out our 2 1x2 panels, and we're basically going to be attaching it onto the sides. So you're gonna be connecting it kind of in a U. So we're gonna grab the same connecting thread, and we're gonna be doing the exact same thing. We're going to be doing a single stitch into the front loops, connect the granny squares all the way down, stop at this bottom intersection. So I'll meet you down here. We've now reached the bottom corner of the bag. The only different thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a second single crochet through the front loops on each of the connecting corners, and this is to help it form a more distinct corner shape for the bottom base of the bag. So you just go through both loops and you single crochet twice. As you can see down here, it gives a little bit more of a distinct corner shape. We're going to continue going along this bottom. Finish connecting the entire base. Now we're going to repeat the corners by doing 2 of those single crochets in each corner. The second corner here, and we're going to do 1 single crochet and then reinsert into the front loops and do our second single crochet. Now I'm going to flip this bag around so it's a little bit easier, and we're just going to finish off connecting with our single crochet. So we just finished attaching one side of our bag. Now we're just going to do the exact same thing to this other side. Right, I'm back and I finished attaching all of my panels together. So I have the full shape of the bag. Both sides are now attached. Now what I'm going to do is turn it inside out. clearly see I have all of my loose ends. So I'm just going to weave all of these in, which will take a minute. So I will see you guys once I finish weaving all of these in. What we're gonna do now is start working on the strap. So what I like to do is add a couple rows of single crochets around the top just to make it more even. So I'm just inserting anywhere around the top, chain one, and then in every single hole, I'm going to do one single crochet. I just finished off my second row of single crochets, so I'm slip stitching to join. Now this is what my bag is looking like, and as you can see, it has a bit of a thicker border up at the top that just kind of evens everything out. I'm going to be working on the side to start building the strap. I'm going to continue from where I left off since I was on the side panel already, but if not, you can just cut your yarn and start again along that side panel. For the strap, we're going to continue working in single crochets. We're going to start off by crocheting single crochets across the width of a single granny square. We're going to decrease that until it's the width of however thick you want your strap to be. I'll tell you guys the measurements that I'm doing, but I kind of eyeball it and you can make it as thick or as thin as you'd like. Working right now at the edge of this granny square. So I'm going to chain one, going to turn my work, and I'm going to work single crochets across the length of the granny square. Once we've single crocheted along the length of the granny square, we're going to chain one, turn our work, and we're going to decrease, insert in the first hole, pull the yarn through, insert in the second hole, pull the yarn through, and then yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 of the loops on my hook. Then we're just going to continue single crocheting. And we're going to do this until there are 2 stitches left. Now that there are 2 stitches left, we're going to decrease again. So we're going to insert, pull yarn through, insert, pull the yarn through, yarn over, and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So we did a normal row, then we did a row where we decrease on both sides. We're gonna do a single chain, turn our work, and we're just gonna do one more normal row of single crochets without any decreases. We've reached the end of our row, so we're gonna chain one, turn our work, do a decrease, then we're going to single crochet across until there are 2 stitches left. I'm going to do another decrease. As you can see, our decrease is starting to form as it narrows down a little. So we chain, we flip our work, and we do another normal row with no decreases. My strap is about 3.5 inches wide, and it's about 12 stitches across, and it's a width that I like. But if you would like your width to be a little skinnier, if you would want a smaller strap or a bigger strap, you would just adjust that by doing less rows of decreases or more rows of decreases. So if I wanted it to be skinnier, I would repeat doing a row of decreases on both sides and then a row of no decreases until it's as skinny as I would like it to be. Or if you want it to be wider, you would just do half of what I did here. But from here on, we're just gonna do single crochets across, back and forth until your strap is as long as you would like it to be. As you can see, my strap has grown quite a bit. This took a while because these are all single crochets, but as you can see, it's super sturdy, so this will make a perfect strap. You can make this as short or as long as you prefer. Mine is measuring about 22 inches, not including the increase and decrease section. So right now we're gonna finish off our strap. We're gonna do a set of increases, and then we're going to attach it to the other side of our bag. I'm at the point where I've finished off my row and I've done a single chain. Now what we're going to do is start increasing, doing the same thing that we did for the decreases on the other side so that it will line up. So on this row, we're going to do a single crochet into the first loop. We're going to increase by doing a second single crochet in that same loop. Then we're going to single crochet all the way across, but stop before the last hole. At this point, we're just going to do 2 single crochets in that last hole to increase on the other side. So that's the first single crochet. That's my second single crochet. Then we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and then we are going to single crochet across, just 1 single crochet in every hole. This should essentially increase the amount of single crochets you're doing by 2 by putting an increase on each side of the strap. Now we're going to chain 1, we're going to turn our work, and we are going to do another row with the increases on both sides. So we're going to crochet 1 single crochet in the first hole, a second single crochet in the first hole, single crochet across the entire row, but leave 1 hole left. Now at this last hole, we're going to place 2 single crochets in here for the increase. We're going to chain 1, turn our work, and we're going to do a single crochet in every hole across. This should line up with what you have on the other side, and we're going to be attaching it to the other granny square, the alternating one, so that we will have our straps connected on both sides. You're gonna wanna make sure that your strap is laid out flat and not twisted. You wanna make sure that you're also connecting it to the correct granny square. For my design, it should be the 4th granny square away, or just make sure it's evenly alternating from the other granny square that you have it connected to. We're just going to connect this the single stitch front loop method. You can see that they're nice and connected now. Just going to cut my yarn. You can just weave this end in. Now we have our finished bag with our strap attached, and all we have to do is line it. You can totally use it the way it is, but especially with this granny square pattern, there are a lot of holes, so it could work a grocery bag or a beach sand bag, but something that's holding lighter and larger items. But personally, I love to line my bags because it will also give it much more of a distinct shape. As you can see, the bottom and the sides of it right now kind of just flatten out. So this is the size of my bag right now. As you can see, it's really slouchy and the base and sides don't really have any structure. So as I was mentioning, this bag is definitely functional as is if you're holding kind of lighter items. This is what it'll look like, a little fuller. Personally, I love to line it, and I really like adding a zipper, especially because the bag is so wide open. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful for you. I said this many times before, but my crochet bags are by far my most used and my favorite crochet items. So of course I wanted to make a video specifically about that for you guys. And once again, thanks for bearing with me, and I hope that this video is helpful even though I'm not an actual pattern writer. If you have any questions, ask them down below. I love reading your comments, and I will try as hard as I can to get back to you so that you can make your very own bag. But I'm so happy with how this turned out. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see other crochet videos or crochet pattern videos, let me know what you want to see below. If you want to see other crochet updates, make sure to check out my other socials, especially Instagram. I update a lot on my stories there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.